Hello food fans, going to have some ground beef today. This is a 1 pound package of ground beef. I'm going to make 2 hamburgers out of 1 pound, so each hamburger will be an 8 ounce, about twice the size of a 1/4 pounder. These will be half pounders. And in addition to the ground beef, I will have some coleslaw, and also going to have a fried portion of a potato, about a half of a fried potato. It's not half fried, but it's half of a potato that is fried. And we will also have a secret dessert. So let's get started. And I will let this cook slowly until it's cooked as well as I like, and I like it very well done. Got the potatoes in there frying with the beef. As it continues to cook, fry away there, I will add some, that's the garlic powder and the basil and Italian seasoning to it. Just sprinkle it into the pan while it's cooking. If you hear any of the outside noise, that's people working on the streets here in the Nashville area. Constant bunch of construction work going on, and new additions to the city that used to be park area or vacant lots or wooded areas. Those are all becoming condos or apartment buildings now. I will turn off the heat now, let it simmer for a little while, maybe 3 or 4 minutes, then we shall dig in. And this should be pretty good. The first hamburger I will make, I will use a hamburger bun. Much too small actually for the size of this hamburger, but I'm after the flavor, and I will get plenty, I can assure you. I'll get 1 big hunk, half-pound burger. And there is a lot of fat in the low-cost ground beef. There's lots of fat, and the fat is the flavor. And let me get a bite of this sandwich. It should be very hot, and it is warm. Ground beef just has a great flavor. Put me down as a fan of ground beef. The big hamburgers once in a while. I would not eat this every week. Open my root beer. Open the coleslaw. And take a bite of the coleslaw. I will talk a little bit about the person I knew, or I got to meet anyway. Have some root beer. It's warm today here in the Tennessee area. More coleslaw real fast. Quite good. There was a person I knew, I worked with him 1 day and enjoyed working with him. This is August 2nd, and the person I worked with passed away on July 29th of 2023. He died of cancer. When I worked with him, he smoked a lot. I do not know what kind of cancer he had. He was a wonderful, fun person to work with. And speaking of Paul Reubens, who was better known as Pee Wee Herman, I worked a scene in Pee Wee's Big Adventure. Napkin here. I worked the scene at the truck stop where Large Marge let Pee Wee off to continue on his adventure. And I did get a close-up. I really enjoyed working with Tim Burton, who was the director. And with Pee Wee, or Paul, he would change his personality just like that. He could become Pee Wee Herman and be laughing and jumping around and having a very good, excited time, and then boom, the scene is over and he turns back into Paul Rubin, who is more or less a serious person, just now what should we do next type of person. But the Pee Wee personality really was popular for a long time. That's a thick hamburger. And when I worked with Pee Wee, it was one of only 2 days in the more than 25 years that I worked as a movie extra. One of only 2 days where I got golden time. And I'll tell you what golden time is in a minute, but first some root beer. Golden time is when you work on a show and you go to work at a certain hour. They say, okay, your call time is 9 a.m., your call time is 6 a.m., your call time is 6:42. Whatever your call time is, if you are still working, even if you've had a lunch hour, if you are still working 16 hours later, you're on golden time. And that means for each hour you get paid a day's pay. Whatever the daily rate is, you get that each hour that goes by. And that becomes a sizable check. They also use my car in Pee Wee's Big Adventure. My car used to be Rambler station wagon, 1969 model. I put mirrors on the front fenders, and Pee Wee stood near my car. Clint Eastwood has been close to my car. If you want to become a working extra, have a vintage car or a taxi cab or a bus or a Rolls Royce. More hamburger, please. 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 They've been working on the roads around here a lot. They've been working on probably 10 different places where they're filling in potholes or doing some sort of new construction to put in bigger sewer pipes because they're putting in new residential areas that are going to hold a lot of people. One of the residential areas near my house appears to be about 1 square mile in size. They've been working on it for about a year now. Get some more coleslaw. For those of you who don't already know, if you're new to the Featureman channel, I like coleslaw, I like cabbage, raw cabbage, cabbage salads, sauerkraut, cooked cabbage. Anything to do with cabbage I like, and I think a lot of the information that you'll find online about cabbage, there are a lot of stories about how cabbage is an anti-cancer food. I don't know if it is or is not, but I like the taste of coleslaw. This is a good hamburger with a pesto flavoring. Next I'm going to make one with bread. I've been lucky all my life to have good food. Some that supposedly is not good for me, but I can eat a lot of foods that are not recommended for a healthful diet, healthy diet. And I don't gain weight, I don't put on a lot of excess weight as a rule. Cheap hamburgers are very greasy, and as I said before, that's where the flavor is. Paul Reubens was only 70 when he died. That sounds like a very, very young age to me. My 2 pieces of bread. Root beer. Let me get the other big beef patty. I think a fast food place that would serve half-pound burgers would be successful, but of course I don't know, because business does not always make sense. Why does one hamburger catch on and another one doesn't? I have flies in here. This is my storage building. show you something here. Occasionally what I'll do is show you a car. That would be a 1946 or 47 or 48 Chevrolet. That's a Fleet Line. The 3 chrome strips on the lower fenders, on the bottoms of the fenders, 3 chrome strips, designates this as a Fleet Line. And I'll show you another car here. My neighbor gave me this, and I thank her very much. Now comes the question about how do I get it out here. Did your neighbor give you a Rolls Royce? For a long time, for at least 50 years, but longer, Rolls-Royce had the same grill, the Rolls-Royce grill, and they had it from 1904, at least up until 54, but I think it lasted up until the 1980s anyway. There was a time when cars looked like automobiles. They didn't look like horse-drawn carriage, and they didn't look like airplanes. They didn't look like baby shoes. They looked like automobiles. And I like the 1940s and 1950s stylings the best. 1955 Packard Caribbean is my favorite. My first car was a 1946 Packard. Get some potato here. Potatoes taste good with the pesto seasoning, like the basil, garlic powder, Italian seasoning, and the grated cheese. Paul Reubens, that is, Pee Wee Herman, will be missed. He made the world laugh for a while. His movie, Pee Wee's Big Adventure, in which I worked, is well worth seeing if you have not seen it. It's a very silly movie that is fun to watch. I once knew a kid back when I was going to grade school, 1940s. There was a boy who went to Lafayette School. He was, I think, either 1 grade ahead of me or 1 grade behind me. And he had a bicycle that looked a lot like Pee Wee Herman's bike in Pee Wee's Big Adventure. The root beer is good. other movie on which I had golden time was Gangster Chronicles. It was a TV miniseries, and one of the episodes we filmed at the Ambassador Hotel in Los Angeles. And things went wrong. Quite often I would be working at the Ambassador Hotel, something would fall down or something would just go wrong. It's sort of like the place was cursed. When I worked on Gangster Chronicles one time there, we were supposed to be at the, was it called the Club Cotton, I think? And we're supposed to be seated at circular tables, maybe 20 different tables in the room, and the band on the bandstand. And every table had someone or a group of people sitting at the table. Except one table. All the people who were sitting at one table happened to be up on the dance floor. They weren't at their table. And as the camera was rolling, one of the big lights, they had big lights that were like 6 feet diameter, up high, 20 feet off this ground floor. And somehow that light fell down onto the table where nobody was sitting. Nobody was hurt. If you ever get a chance to watch Gangster Chronicles, if that is on anywhere, very good miniseries. Is directed by a fellow named Richard Sarafian. And Richard Sarafian was a very big man who would like to put lots of energy into every scene. More coleslaw. And Richard Sarafian would show the cast how he wanted them to run or move, and he would be going like 300-pound man running around the room. It was always fun to work with him. But the Gangster Chronicles series miniseries was pretty good. It's worth watching. And Tim Burton also was fun to watch when he would be showing Paul Reubens how he wanted Pee Wee Herman to do a certain thing. Tim Burton would become Pee Wee Herman for a few minutes, and he would do the scene, and Tim Burton would change his voice to Pee Wee's voice. Did you see the 39 Chevy in this video? My brother's first car was a 1940 Chevrolet. I think YouTube's going to be the #1 entertainment venue, at least in the United States. I'll finish this hamburger. Then we'll have a secret dessert.
About a month until September, the beginning of the change in the seasonal weather. And as I said, I don't eat half-pound hamburgers every day. Once a week might be the limit to maintain your best health. I'm not sure. But I probably wouldn't eat this way more than once a month. There are a lot of good foods that have too much of something that's not good for you. Finish this hamburger. It is gone. I'll move this stuff over here. Got my secret dessert, which is the 74-cent pie, and in this case the secret dessert is apple pie. Apple pie. That's from Walmart. Let me gobble that up. These little pies are quite good, and the 74 cents per serving is not too bad these days. Apple pie. It is good. Thank you for coming over and visiting. It's always good to see you. It's supposed to be raining tomorrow, so be careful. And thank you for watching.